Welcome back to Transaction Care, a day in the life of a real estate transaction coordinator working from home. And these are my live sessions. I like to go live, talk to the people, connect with you guys, see what topics you guys need more information regarding your business, your career, if you're pivoting, if you're wanting to celebrate your wins. We do it all here. I enjoy going live, so definitely hit that subscribe button if you haven't already subscribed because it's a good time over here. This is my third attempt going live today. The first time, everything was just kind of out of whack, so I canceled it. Second time, I got on live today, and my doorbell was ringing off the hook, and I knew they were coming between the hours of 2 and 5, but I didn't know that they would come on at 2 o'clock on the dot, and it was the I'm blanking on their names right now, but basically the people that come and fix my or like the annual check for your smoke detectors. They were here, but it was weird because so I rent and they were in my house. I was here on live and I was like not wanting to respond to the doorbell right away because I was just like, who could that be? And then I remembered the smoke detector people. And I go to my window and I'm like, she sounds like she's in my house. I was like, who is it? And yeah, they were in my house. So that was weird. It was really weird to have them knowing like they have the key to my house. So that was my afternoon. So that's why coming on here live a little later than usual. It's just been one of those days. And then yesterday I wasn't able to go live because I had a last minute thing in San Jose that I had to attend. So that's just the nature of it. That's just like the real day in the life. I wish I could have gone live yesterday, but what did come out yesterday was the podcast, the keys to staying compliant in your real estate business. So if you haven't already, go to listen to that. I also kind of soft launched something in that episode and as well as in my newsletter. So if you aren't already tapped in, go to transactioncare.com. Submit your name and your email. It's that simple. That way you can get in touch with me. You can get exclusive content, exclusive deals, discounts, sales, all before it even goes public. I'm navigating this part of my business, this season of my business. Everything is brand new. I feel like I'm starting from scratch, even though I know I'm not. I'm starting from experience and I'm starting from a different level with a new lens, with more knowledge, more experience, as I said. But at the same time, I'm still going through those feelings of like imposter syndrome or confusion or hesitation. Like, is this what I'm supposed to be doing? Is this going to make money? Is this going to make sense? Is this going to help people? Um, it's an interesting space to be in. 6 years into being, I would say 5 full years of being a full-time transaction coordinator and running my business. And then this year also marking like 20 years working in real estate from the time I was fresh out of high school, getting my first job at a real estate office to eventually quitting to now navigating different stages of my business and what that looks like or what I want that to feel like or new ways to earn income. And that's definitely been difficult to navigate. I'm not even going to hold you or lie or pretend like this is all fun and games, especially when the parts of your business you want to continue to invest in aren't necessarily like lucrative just yet. So trying to navigate like passion and purpose versus the pursuit of um, like financial wellness and what that looks like. So right now I'm just like, I'm grateful that I really took the time in the last week to audit my entire life. I talked about this on Sunday when I went live on TikTok, and basically, it was so important that I audited my life when it comes to my business right now. and my finances and my goals and my dreams, because I didn't really have one place where I could just have it all written down. And when I was working with my coach one on one, we would do like an annual GPS. And I realized for me, although I do have big goals, long term goals, um, none of that can happen unless I'm focused on the today, the next 6 weeks versus the next 6 months. And with it being the second half of the year, I desperately needed to check in with myself. I I function and work better when all of the noise is quieted and it's after hours. So I'm testing out going live in the evenings to see if there are people that just want to come in and chit chat, talk, ask questions, which also helps me understand better what the community needs, what the people need, and ways I can be of service or help them, as well as, build out any products and services that can benefit the people as well. And being at the very beginning stages of that, and investing my time in those things when it's not guaranteed, or there's no payout immediately, and doing my best to not make it about money. But at some point, you do have to think about the money part. But having sat down for the last week to really audit my life, like basically revisiting, reassessing, and revising everything that I was focused on, my why, redoing my why, and really just like narrowing down what it is I want to, like, what is driving me? What is my motivation? Who is motivating me? How am I motivating myself? How am I protecting my peace, but also taking action, right? So I had to go back and, like, what is my why? Do I still believe in this? Is this still the driving force behind what I'm doing? What are my goals? What are my dreams? Not just with business, but in life, in reality. My identity, my personality is not all work. You know what I mean? It's a fun part of it, especially being able to create content for you guys and just be a resource, be a vessel to whatever it is I'm supposed to be talking about, even when no one is in the room or no one's actively in the live. It's just remaining persistent and showing up, because you just never know who's watching or who will need the message when the time is right. If it's in my heart, or if it's in my mind, or whatever, I have to get it off my chest, I'll let it go and release it to whoever needs it. But overall, I spent the last few days just really checking in with myself, and having been kind of like under the weather all of last weekend, not this past weekend, the weekend before, it really got me to thinking, like, oh my God, it's the second half of the year. It's my 20th year in real estate. What am I doing? Like, how do I want to earn money moving forward? How do I want to show up in the world? How do I want to make an impact, change my life, change other people's lives, um, all of that. So I really sat down, and at first, I took my notebook right here and just started writing. I was like, let me just write. Let me just write what's on my mind. Each page will be about my why. Each page will be about dreams and goals. And then the next few days after that, um, once I was done with my work day, I just sat on my laptop and kind of organized all those thoughts and tried to get it all on, like, in one place. So I didn't just have stuff in my notebook. I didn't have stuff in my phone. I didn't have things on my laptop. It was just one Google Doc, which is free, where I just, top of the page, my why, next, my goals, my dreams. Um, then, like, my finances. Like, I always talk about, like, your budget and knowing your numbers, because I had been working with the idea that I needed to make this large amount of money. And when I wasn't hitting that goal, it was very discouraging. It was very depressing. It was very difficult to accept that reality. And then this past week, when I reevaluated my numbers, I canceled some things, I moved some stuff around, the bottom line was significantly lower than what I was telling myself in my mind. Like, if we don't make this, this is it. We're going under, we're failing, blah, blah, blah. And I'm human, as much as I want to help other people, it's important that I help myself first, right? So this past week, having taken the time to sit with myself, to sit with everything that I had been kind of avoiding or even forgetting. Like, I forgot what my why was. I forgot what my dreams and goals were. I was just kind of existing, right? But also having fun and just being present in the moment, in the day to day. But I desperately needed that check-in. So I hope anyone watching this replay and has made it 10 minutes into this video, you are checking in with yourself, whether it's a large, extensive audit like I did, or just a quick check-in. Like, are we okay? Am I okay? Is my business okay? Are my finances okay? Is my family okay? Are there areas that I need to clean and purge within my home? Because maybe everything else is going fine, but your home is in a bit of a disarray or chaos. So I spent a lot of time purging and getting rid of, like, emptying out like my spaces so I can function and have more clarity. Because I was kind of just living amongst a lot of things that I did not and do not need. In my mind, I was like, the collection makes me feel secure, when in actuality, I have to make myself secure. So whether it was my book collection or even a collection of clothes that I've had for years, I just have to let go of a lot of those energies to clear up space, to clear my mind, clear my spirit, making room for new people, new energies, new experiences, new job opportunities, career, business opportunities, all of that. And I think taking the time to actually keep the promises that I made to myself, like, I'm going to purge these clothes, I'm going to donate these things, I'm going to get rid of these books. They've served its purpose. It's time to let it go. Getting rid of all of my crutches or my distractions or my roadblocks. I never posted this, but as I was redoing my office, I realized I was physically self-sabotaging myself, which is one of my biggest flaws, is self-sabotage and being anxious and avoiding things, right? So I used to have my desk in this corner here where the TV is, and it's like kind of like what do you call it? Like a space, like a pushed back. It's like a small pushed back space. I'm blanking on the word right now. But basically, I had my desk in that space, and then I had like the couch. I had a couch, like, the couch is next to me now, but it used to be against the wall. And then it'd be my desk, TV across. But it was really difficult to get into my desk because it was blocked by a wall and then my couch. And then there was just all these factors that were preventing me from getting to the place that was providing for me, that I would just end up avoiding it and not working or getting discouraged because I was just like overwhelmed easily. So now I'm like, no, we can't make any more excuses. We can't self-sabotage. We cannot avoid any of this. I have to just face it head on, do the work. As I always say, do the work. And shout out to the little beach ASMR video I have playing in the background. But I really just had to sit with myself and move stuff, get rid of stuff. Again, lighten my load. And it's not quite minimalistic, but it's definitely in the areas of just, what does clarity look like to me? And let me go seek that and create that for me. And I started with me, right? And then I worked my way out, whether it was clothes or even rearranging furniture, just creating new energy and new space so I can be a better entrepreneur, be a better person, be a better friend, all of those things, family member. And that was a result of just sitting and auditing my life, really auditing and getting to know myself at this stage, at this point in my career, without forgetting. Because again, I could be very forgetful. So I had to remind myself over the last few days, like, what is my why? What are my dreams? What are my goals? What am I working towards? How do I want to feel? Who do I want to be surrounded by? Who are the types of energies and peoples that I want to work with, or even the companies that I want to work with? How much money do I need to make in order to survive at the bare minimum and at the maximum, right? And coming to terms with all those things, like, do I need to go get a part-time job? Do I need to create different services? Do I need to go back to school? Do I need to up my marketing? Where's my mindset? How do I trust this process? Is this process the path that I want to be on? Even, do I need more time to just listen? Am I in a season of listening more, taking action, right? So there's so many things that we have to consider and factor in when we're working for ourselves or starting a new business. You know, I've taken a lot of coaching calls recently that I can feel and recognize people's desires to change their lives, to pursue other careers, be it real estate transaction coordinator or whatnot. And I do my best to coach them through those thoughts or those ideas or those pivots. But at the same time, like, I want to be honest. I'm like, if you want to start a business, have you ever run a business? What do you know about business? Or what do you know about real estate? Let's get it all out. Let's talk about it. And it's like, who do you know in real estate? Can you reach out to them? Can you talk to them? Start networking. Are you good at networking? What do you know about marketing? How organized are you? If you're running late to something, do you communicate that? Do you give up? Do you get embarrassed? Do you feel shame and then you just ignore and avoid, self-sabotage? Why do you want to get into this? Again, going back to your why. What are you seeking? And then knowing your numbers, how much do you need to make a month? What are your skills? What are you passionate about? What do you enjoy doing? What is your personality type? And then creating a job or a career based off of that. You know what I mean? And for me, my skills include real estate, transaction coordination, coaching, you know, just to name like the basics, right? And then like my personality is pretty outgoing, but I prefer more intimate gatherings. I don't need to be the star of the show, but I also don't mind, you know, being public facing either, or going live. I love social media. I love creating content. I like talking to the people, answering questions, helping people. So how can I build a job or career or a business around my skills, my personality, my experience, versus just falling into a job or a career because it pays well, right? When it's like creative living is not necessarily like you're a content creator, but it's like if you have to make $5,000 a month and you're miserable at your job, but you're great at it, one, maybe you just need to switch companies doing the same job. Two, maybe it's a matter of looking at your expenses and downsizing. So you don't have to you don't need to make that much money. Hi, Amy. Let's see. What is your question? How can I get a job once I get my certification? Um, Certification for transaction coordination. I just want to make sure we're talking about the same thing. Real estate certification, transaction coordination. Okay, so you definitely like want to get as much experience as possible when you're starting out. Do you have any real estate experience, or do you know people in the real estate industry? Do you have your checklists and real estate. I'm sorry, I'm a notary. Um, yeah, so um, if you're trying to be, have transaction coordination be a job versus a business, then I would get on LinkedIn, Indeed.com, see what openings are available in your neighborhood, in your city, in your county, see who's hiring, and start applying. Even if you don't have the experience, you can build your experience as you're applying. You know, find out who are the local transaction coordinators in your neighborhoods. Do they need an assistant? Because maybe it's a matter of just starting. Um, maybe you starting out is just a matter of helping someone out until you get more reps in and feel more confident. Um, but what if you have once you get your certification, I would definitely just begin the process of marketing yourself, but also figure out, like you said, you want to start it as a job and eventually turn it into a business. So if you're, just imagine like you're someone coming out of college, you're getting the education, then you get an internship, then you get a part-time job, full-time job, business, whatever. So definitely you want to see who is in your neighborhood that has any job openings. And you could start off, I started out working at an office. I started out working um, a part-time job out of college. Then it turned into a 9 to 5. I learned a lot. I was fired. I was laid off. I quit. I came back. Like, you know, you just kind of have to put yourself out there, and like learning how to be a TC for me was very much, um, I was pretty much just thrown into the fire, and I had to figure it out a lot of the times. But being curious, asking a lot of, the appropriate questions can definitely help you navigate this process. But start with your local community of people, like what city and counties do you want to service, and then reach out to that network of people. Because when you're just starting out and you feel like you have to serve the whole state, it gets very overwhelming. I'm based in California and I only service San Francisco and sometimes the surrounding counties within the San Francisco Bay Area. But I don't service uh, Southern California or Northern California, which is Sacramento, and Southern California being Los Angeles, San Diego, TC in those territories. But I do have my real estate license in California. So if I learned those markets, I could easily just TC anywhere in California. But because I prefer to just stick to my city that I know, that I've been working in, it's less overwhelming for me to navigate it. But if and when I want to expand or tap into different markets, I can. But if you're just starting out, I would just start with local. Like who is in your like who is if you bought a house, who was your realtor? Or if your family members bought a home, who was their realtor? Your neighbors, you know what I mean? And just start asking questions, getting curious. If you want to set up a one-on-one with me, you can also do that, or just sign up for my newsletter or join me in my lives when I'm answering questions. But don't wait for a piece of paper to validate or begin the process, because you want to get in as many reps and start building your community and networking now. And people might even give you some guidance and direction, because sending out one email isn't just going to, it's not going to work. Like, hey, can I be your TC? You have like the finances are in the follow up, is what I tell a lot of my when I'm doing one-on-one sessions with people. It's like, what is your game plan to follow up with the people you're marketing towards? Who are you? Do you know who your target audience is? Um, do you know where you want to serve? It's the knowing your why, which I talked about earlier in this live. Is like, know why do you want to do any of this, right? Who are you? And then like, who's inspiring you? What's inspiring you? What's going to keep you motivated in this process of this weight game or this pivot in your career? And then, then kind of just answer for yourself, like your who, what, when, where, how, and why. Again, my window is open. If it's too distracting, let me know. I'll close it. But I also live like kind of near a freeway. No, let's see. Great. You're welcome, Amy. Not really, but I'm lucky I have friends that are agents, and I'm just going to get out there. Yeah, and start planting the seeds. If you know people in the industry, start planting those seeds now. You technically don't even need a certification to be a transaction coordinator. It definitely helps. But if you're ready to just start figuring it out now and getting yourself, thank you, Crystal. What's up? I'm also live on TikTok, guys. So if anyone's on TikTok, I'm live on YouTube, TikTok. It's happening all at once. It's happening here. I was like, let me just try it. Let me just go live on both and see what happens. Because I wasn't able to go live yesterday. So I was like, let me just make up for lost time and get both of you guys on here on live. So, but what I was talking about is if you're just starting out in any business, truly, of course, if certifications or licenses are required, then it just becomes being, a waiting game of being patient. But beginning the process of marketing yourself, you don't have to wait on anyone or anything, because that's something you have to get into the practice of, getting used to, selling your services. What are your services? Who's your target audience or target demographic customers? How much are you going to charge? Let's see. I'm an A-type. I think I need to know it all before something, but I want to start a course and just get some of the knowledge. Yeah, I went through a phase in my career recently where I was just over consuming. Like I need to watch every training video. I need to join every mailing list of every guru or every coach that I enjoy watching. I need to watch all their interviews, read all their books. And after a while, you just have to start taking what you learned and apply it, and being disciplined and not afraid to fail, or not being, learning how to fall, learning how to fail, and how to cope with those things or accept those things. I think that's where I'm at, and I just want to start doing transactions. Yeah, and like in order to start doing the transactions, you have to put yourself out there, and you only know if it's working until when you do it. I had someone that got her first transaction, and then something went wrong, and she emailed me, and we kind of laughed about it, and we're like, all right, dust yourself off, get back up, and go do it again. Thank God you weren't fired or any of that. So that's a good thing. So you're obviously doing something right. But when it comes to like starting out, get in the practice of like, do you have somewhat of a sales pitch? Meaning like, this is what I offer, this is who I service, this is the areas that I work in, these are the counties, this is my price, these are my services. Again, like, do you have all of those things organized? And then start Googling, like, who are the offices within my neighborhood? Or are there any transaction coordinators that need an assistant or need help? You don't necessarily have to work for a realtor or a brokerage. There are a lot of transaction coordinators that have their own agency. And, maybe if you're just starting out, give yourself like if you can afford it, like a 3-month trial period where you can maybe volunteer to intern, or volunteer to be an assistant of sorts. So you can definitely, again, just build up your reps, get in the habit of immersing yourself in the field without having to wait so long. There's so many different ways that we can break into this industry that it doesn't have to be so like conventional. Again, like, think about who are the TCs that are in your area now. Do they need help? They might need help just little tasks that you may have never done, like docu-signing a whole disclosure packet, or gathering disclosures. So then that way there's less pressure on you as a new TC to be standing on the stage by yourself, and you can have like someone above you that's, going to help you along the way. But those are just some ideas and different ways that you can navigate TCing as a career. I know we all want to just kind of be running business, be doing our thing, and be our own boss, and that's great and all. But if you're just starting out with anything, it's like, how can I be a resource and a value to those within my community already? And then building, getting to know who you are as well under those different types of pressure, while you're also gaining the experience. So, getting thirsty. And then, if a certain amount of time has gone by and you don't have a transaction yet, everything you're doing, it's just time to revise the game plan. Whether it's doing something out of your comfort zone, like going to open houses and meeting your local realtors, talking to them, seeing if they have a transaction coordinator. There was a point where I was just, if I saw open house sign, I would just go in there and talk. And usually like just heads up, there's going to be a lot of changes to how open houses work moving forward. I was reading the updates from, at least here in California, I was reading that in order to go into open houses, I think you're going to have to have a buyer broker agreement signed prior to. And even if you're just a stranger walking in the neighborhood wanting to go into an open house, you're going to have to sign a buyer broker agreement in order to go view the property with the agent that's doing the open house. It's not a binding contract, but it's the paper trail to cover CYA, cover your A. So the new laws are going to be changing around those things, but in the meantime, take advantage of the fact that like open houses are still open and you can go network or leave a business card. If you don't want to talk to anyone, just leave a business card on the table or some sort of like flyer or postcard promoting your business or promoting yourself. I used to throw, I think I've talked about this here. I used to be a party promoter. Well, I was a promoter for a DJ and I promoted her parties. And I learned so much doing that because I was out at the parties, the one handing out flyers, didn't talk to anyone. I was just like, here you go. Here you go. I was leaving them on the tables. I was going to cafes. I was going to music record stores when they were popular, going to colleges and schools, telling anyone and everybody, family, friends, ahead of time, like, party's coming up, I'm promoting it, do you need to get on the guest list, blah, blah. So I took a lot of that experience and apply it still to this day to my business. Or I'll share it with the people, like, hey, here are some other ways that you could market yourself or you could put yourself out there. But if you're someone that is eager to be in a transaction, if nothing is happening, like, just use this time as an opportunity to get your systems in order, to revise your goals, to revise your values, your mission statement, or maybe you've always wanted a website. Start learning how to build a website. There's websites like Squarespace, WordPress that make it very easy to plug and play. All you have to do is just edit the copy, which is the text. So that way you're not just waiting. There's always things to do. Especially, that's what I've learned being self-employed, is like, if I'm not initiating anything, nothing will happen because I'm the business. So if I'm having like a slower day or a slower month or a slower season, to me, I don't look at that as like I'm failing. I look at it as like an opportunity to finally do the things that have been piling up in the background, that may not even be related to business. Like I was talking about on the other live on Sunday, is like cleaning and purging your house, reorganizing your office space, creating an office space for yourself, um, getting a haircut. It's like the smallest, subtlest things that we could change in our lives that will make a big impact. Um, but there's always something to do. There's always something to do. Or maybe you're the type that is constantly going, 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 but then there's no business happening. Okay, then maybe it's time to rest. Maybe this is the time to just kick back for a little bit. Obviously, if you can afford it, but even if you can't, rest is important. I don't want to make it seem like you can only rest if you have money. Like, no. I took some of the best naps of my life when I had debt and my bank accounts were in the red and negative and like late fees. Like, nope, I'm still gonna get my 8 hours. um, but yeah. But how's everyone's week going? It's Tuesday. We're almost at the end of the month. I can't believe it. June has flown by so fast. It's ridiculous. But shout out to everyone joining. Shout out to everyone that was in here. Uh, I love going live. I didn't get to go live yesterday, so I'm making up for it. I'm live on YouTube and I'm live on TikTok. So if you have any comments or questions, or if you just want to gossip about some crazy celebrities, we can do that too. um, let's see. Or if you have some tips and advice that you want to share with someone that you experienced and has helped you in your business, go ahead and drop them in the comments. Like, this is a community I want to build with you all and create like a safe space for us to just get together. And this week's podcast episode, The Keys to Staying Compliant in Your Real Estate Business, episode 59. I kind of soft launched my Patreon. I had a community last year, but a community platform that I launched last year, but it kind of fell flat because I just had the idea and did it, but I wasn't like directly talking to you guys. Like, I wasn't meeting you guys, or I wasn't asking you guys what you needed. So this go round, I'm a little nervous because I'm just like, I want this to work, but at the same time, I don't want to just do it based off of what I think you guys need, which is what I say pretty often. So it's like, one, I think community is very important, and if there's like a place where we can all get together monthly, um, and help keep each other inspired, motivated, accountable as well. It's affordable, you know what I mean? Because I know if I'm paying for something, I'm more likely to show up for it, versus kind of like, oh, I'll do it later, or I'll show up to that later. And I thought about like, if I was starting over in an industry where I wanted to meet like-minded people that were committed to this new journey or this new career, how much am I willing to invest in that? If I'm still on a budget. And that's kind of like the factors that I was considering when it came to pricing. I'm still trying to figure out the whole platform when it comes to like, what can I offer for free? So I think there's like like when you go to the page, patreon.com/transaction care, it shows like posts that I've posted that can be for free, but then there's also like the membership tab. So I'm still figuring all of that out and navigating it. If anyone here has experience with Patreon, please let me know. I would love your help. um, and if there is certain content you want to see in there, obviously I'm still going to be posting on YouTube. I'm still going to be posting here on TikTok, as well as going live. So that's not going to stop. But I want to have a space where, even if it's like 5 or 10 of us, just a couple of times a week, we get together, we talk, and just uplift each other. celebrate our wins, review our failures and our losses and how we could overcome them versus just kind of wallowing and dwelling in our failures. Like, let's just get it off our chest and like take the opportunities. So it's patreon.com. Let me make sure it's right. Hold on. So if you go to, let me actually put it in the comments. Hold on. So if you go to patreon.com/transaction care, how do I never TikTok? I'm still figuring this out. There's no, I don't see a comment button on my end. So bear with me, guys, ladies, people. There we go. Found it. Okay. Oh, shoot. Sorry if that paused. I closed the app. But it's Patreon. I know you can't click links, but you can't click links here on the chat, but that's what it should look like. But you can also go to my website, transactioncare.com. I just updated my website. I haven't fully like announced it or anything. I'm just kind of leaving it open to those in my newsletter, those that join me here on live. I just kind of want to keep it like small and intimate in the first like month or so. And it's $10 a month. I should say that up front. I want to be upfront. It's $10 a month. I don't want that to change. I don't need it to be higher. I couldn't go lower because they take a lot of taxes out and fees. So I wanted to make sure there was like a little bit of profit so I could reinvest that back into the business. And then also, just create that space for us to come together. Because, I love coming here on live, but I also feel like if we're in a more secure space, there's more room for us to be a little bit more honest with like what we're going through or what we need. And then it'll be more like planned out. Like this month, we'll talk about listings, or this week we'll talk about listings, or maybe I'll do like, well, you'll see. And again, I want to build it out based off what you guys need as well. So sorry, my allergies and my nose are like running right now, and I have my window open. So if it's too loud, let me know. But I'm also trying not to sneeze. But yes, please check it out. Thank you guys. Thank you, Crystal. Thank you, Simone. Let's see. I'm new here. How's TCing for you? So I've worked in the real estate industry for 20 years exactly. Like June 2024 marked my 20th year just being in the industry. I've had pretty much every job, most jobs within this field, that eventually led me towards being self-employed. Did I think I was going to be in real estate for 20 years? No. Even when I got my first job, real estate was not the plan. My friend was supposed to go on that job interview, and I keep forgetting I'm on YouTube. Hi, YouTube. My friend had a job interview at this real estate company. At the last minute, he couldn't make it. He knew I was looking for a job. He said, "Hey, call this person and go to the interview. They need someone to they're hiring." And I was like, "Okay, that's weird, but I'll do it." And every time I try to shake real estate, it's like a boomerang. It just keeps coming back. I've tried quitting so many times. I've been fired. Well, no, I haven't been fired. Well, I've had clients let me go, and or I let them go. I've been laid off, and it just keeps coming back. So TCing has been my livelihood for definitely like the last decade and a half. And it's and me coming in here and going live and building out a community platform like Patreon is my way of like giving back all of the information that I know, because there are so many gatekeepers here in real estate. And if you listen to my podcast, Transaction Care, one of my slogans is, "I'm giving you the keys. There are no gatekeepers here," because I wish I had me when I was first launching my business. And even turning transaction coordination into a business was not my plan. Like I had to quit my job so I could be present so I could be my grandma's caretaker. And once again, real estate was like that boomerang. It just kept coming back into my life. So I just stopped rejecting it and was like, let me just surrender and see what happens. And the more I feed into real estate and go live or create content, my intention has always been like, give the people what they need, because I wish I had that coming up. So I started out with my YouTube channel, which I'm also live on YouTube right now. And I love content creation. So I just kind of merged both worlds. And once again, I was like, let me just see what happens, because honestly, I've been doing transaction coordination for so long. I was burnt out. I was like over it. I felt like I'd outgrown it, and I wanted to get to a place where I could help others that wanted to do it more than I do right now. And starting my YouTube channel led to me eventually hiring my own coach, who helped me navigate and get out all of my confusing feelings about transaction coordination versus quitting and starting over and finding a whole new career. So I could be pretty impulsive sometimes too. It's always 0 or 100. There's no in between. So I had to heal a lot of my impulsivities when it came to just, I'm over it, I quit, let me move on to something else. So that's why I keep saying real estate, it was like a boomerang. It kept coming back. So yeah. So once I like had that support through my coach, that led me to starting a podcast, which is also called Transaction Care. I have over 20 interviews with people within the real estate industry that I've made friends with because I just reached out to them. My goal was to interview a TC in every state. So that's still in the works, but I've also interviewed investors, brokers, real estate, realtors, a plethora of coaches. I've interviewed my coach. So I'm just like, my intentions at first and still is like, let me just continue to give as much free game as possible. Because the people that I followed, like the entrepreneurs that I followed, had their paid services, but they were also giving out so much free information that had they not, I don't think I would be as far as I am today mentally, like having to, like knowing what it took to just maintain this lifestyle. And every time I was trying to chase the money, things would fail. Whereas if I just led with integrity, if I lead with like the right intentions, that's when I also feel my like my best self. And that's still my game plan today. It's like, we can have the paid services. Like for me as a tease, for me, I don't know. Was that a sign? But we can have, like, I can still have paid, things that I charge for. But even as a new entrepreneur, being self-employed, navigating that, I had to get comfortable with telling people like, yeah, the honking was ridiculous. It was ridiculous. I had to get comfortable telling people like, this is how much I charge. Oh, I'm raising my prices. Oh, I am downsizing my roster. I can no longer work with you. Or, I'm sorry, my quality of work wasn't a fit for you. How can I improve? It has been really active outside. I have my window open because it's actually kind of hot outside, and I'm wearing this thick hoodie right now that I can't take off because I forgot to put a shirt under. And that's not the attention I want here on TikTok or anywhere on YouTube. I'd get banned. So I was like, let me just leave my window open, and then there's just been cars and people. Anyway, we're here. We're still live. So anyway, yeah. So I've always valued community, and having now pivoted into coaching, I'm still trying to figure out ways to do that directly and indirectly, whether it's through content, coming here on live, um, doing one-on-ones, and then now exploring somewhat of like a group community where coaching can exist, but also a place for you guys to network and you guys to build community for yourselves and help each other out. And I feel like, God willing, this is the route that is going to work the best, which I think is, and I'm having fun doing it. Like I'm just now putting it out. So if people want to visit or learn about it, I decided to do it on Patreon. But you're still going to get free game from me here on TikTok. I'm also live on YouTube. My podcast, my weekly podcast. Although I am taking a month off in July from the podcast because July last year I only took 2 days off from the podcast, and that took a lot out of me. And when I was looking at my my stats and my analytics, July was like the slowest month listener wise. So this go around this year, I'm learning my lesson in terms of like, I don't want to burn out. I already feel the feelings of burnout creeping up. So how can I minimize that or eliminate that? And I was like, you know what? I'm really focused on this, like really building out a community for people within the real estate industry, as well as those that are like 0 to 5 years experience as a transaction coordinator, or maybe you're a realtor wanting to pivot into transaction coordination. Or maybe you're a transaction coordinator and you realize this ain't for me. I don't like it. Get me out of here. How do I do that? I want to provide that stuff too. You know what I mean? And I still want to keep going live. I still want to produce the content that I do as regularly as possible. But I really do believe in community and having a place where we can all kind of get together, tap in and check in with each other on a more like intimate level, even if it's like I said, 10 of us, where we just hold each other accountable, motivate each other, uplift each other, share some tips and tricks. Because I don't, it's cute to say like, oh, I've been working in real estate for 20 years, but at the same time, it's like, I still don't know everything. Hey, Junior. Oh my God. With the roses. Oh, it's a bouquet now. It's a bouquet at this point. Okay. I love it. Thank you so much. Thank you for the roses. Or I'll just become a full-time TikToker. I don't know where this is going to take me. I love talking to you guys. I love interacting with you all. I love meeting you guys because, when you're self-employed, also I'm live on YouTube. I keep ignoring. There's no one in this chat. So, but this is going to live on my page. Oh my God. We have a flower shop now. At this point, I can have a side hustle of selling roses now. Thank you, Junior. Oh my God, I love it. It's never gonna get old. Seeing that, like, those things pop up on my screen, it's just never gonna get old. I love it. But I was, if you're just joining now, Junior, I don't know if you were just watching in the background. I'm talking about the community platform that I'm building. And I tried it last year. It didn't work out because looking back at it, I was definitely building it from like a selfish standpoint. Like, this is what I think you guys need. This is what I know you need. I. Whereas like now I'm like, no, what do you guys need? You tell me. Let's get together, behind a paywall or whatever the case may be, a couple times out of the month where we just meet, game plan, strategize, vent. And then for the rest of the month, we're taking action. we're putting in the work that we talked about in those 2 weeks. That's how I envision it. As well as like, what are some main topics that people need help with? Whether it's like, is it a book? Is it a book club? Is it like a focus, like 3-week training that we have to do, whatever the case may be. But then I also wanted to make it affordable. I was thinking like, if I was thinking of me like 7 years ago when I was just starting out and not really having too much of a budget to invest, but I wanted to always invest in myself. And I was like, what could I afford if I'm just starting out and, I'm saving, but I'm also like trying to pay down debts. And I was like, well, I feel like $10 a month is pretty reasonable. You know what I mean? To like keep yourself accountable, to meet like-minded people. And I saw people were like creating Patreons, and I was like, well, I've joined a couple Patreons over the years, and it was really beneficial. And I don't really see that in the TC industry right now. If there is, I'm not aware of anyone that has a Patreon. I know there are TCs that have their private communities. Maybe it's just on a different platform. But I think the key element to all of this is like prioritizing your mental health. And I don't see that happening. I don't see the conversations surrounded, but what am I trying to say? There's a lot of trainings. There are a lot of groups that like do X, Y, and Z, but they're not talking about like, if I have imposter syndrome, how do I navigate that? Or what are some signs of burnout so I can be aware of that? Even fitness. I started my fitness journey, restarted it because I'm human. It's always, but we start from experience. It is active outside. I didn't order anything. They always drop off packages to my house, and it's never for me. So if you hear my doorbell ringing and a bunch of dogs, it's my neighbors downstairs. But what was I saying? Anyway, yeah, just kind of like providing my experience and being available to you guys in order to not just like help you guys feel safe, but just be able to interact with each other and again encourage and uplift each other and share stories to where it's like you feel less alone, less lonely. Because again, I was trying to build a community platform last year, but I never tapped in with the actual community. Like Junior, Crystal, like everyone that was in here, I didn't really know you guys like a month ago per se. You know what I'm saying? Like you might have been following me from the background, but now that like I get to talk to you guys directly, and like you guys are showing me so much love, whether you're double tapping the screen or sending me roses. Oh my God, I'm gonna be a florist now. I'm basically a florist. I love it. It's not gonna get old. I could be on TikTok for the next decade, and I'm still gonna have that same like reaction of like, oh my God, a rose. I love it. Oh, but no, but I just really am so grateful and appreciative of the community that I am building, that I'm able to just be a vessel and a resource for you guys. Because if I can't help you, I know a lot of people that can. And we can all eat is what I'm getting at. And it's like, I don't need to coach everyone. I don't need to have, I mean, it would be nice to have thousands and thousands of people in my Patreon, but it's okay if it's just like even two of us in there, you know what I mean? Like, because I know like that help is going to be like a ripple effect. It's gonna go beyond anything that I can even control. But if I don't create the space and provide it for you guys, then I feel like I would be doing a disservice to you guys. And it's fun. Like I wish we could all do things and get paid or not get paid, but just have the mindset of like, go have fun. Like even when you're checking your inbox, or if you're doing something boring, it's like, oh, I'm so grateful I get to do this. And once I flip the switch from like, I can't believe I have to go do this, to I get to do this, I don't know, just something shifted. I felt lighter. I felt healthier. I felt younger. I just turned 40, and it's like once I started to change my mindset, I was like, oh, my wrinkles are going away. My gray hairs are a lot less. Like, but now the attitude of like gratitude is so important. It's been the biggest game changer of my life. And if there's anything that like, oh my God, heart puff. Thank you, Crystal. I love that. Heart puff. How, what was the heart and then like puff? Like, that's so cool. Um, oh my God, Junior with the roses. I love it. I love it. Thank you so much. But oh man, I lost my train of thought. I got so excited by the gifts. But I came on here, like I wasn't even planning on coming on live today because but I made a promise to myself in the month of June I was going to go live every Monday and Tuesday. But then yesterday, my best friend came into town at the very last minute, and she was all the way in San Jose. And then I had to go meet my other best friend. We had to go to Oakland. So I was at all the different area codes yesterday. And I got my alert to go live, and I was just like not in the right place to go live. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to make up for it tomorrow, and I'm going to go live on YouTube and on TikTok. Boom. I actually tried to go live earlier, and everything was just a mess. I went live again at like 2:30. The people that were scheduled to come check my smoke detectors today, which is kind of creepy. So I ran. They rang my doorbell. I was live, so I didn't respond after the first doorbell, and I was like, then they kept like ringing it off the hook. So I go to the window. I was like, who is it? And I hear her say like the management company, and I was like, that's a new voice. I don't know who that is. And then I was like, why does it sound like she's in my house? And then I was like, because my door was closed. So once his door is closed, like I could barely hear anything. And my window was shut. And my windows are pretty, like the glass is pretty strong. So I can't hear. But I was like, who is it? And normally the people will pop out. Like I have a porch. So they'll pop out and just say, hey, it's like Amazon or whoever. But then today I was like, is this trick in my house? And I was like, is this legal? What if I wasn't home? Then I would just have this stranger in my house? Even if she does work for the management company, and yes, like I don't own the home, but it was creepy. So I run outside, and she's like, blah, blah, blah from blah, blah, blah management. So I run to my stairs because I live on the top unit, and my door is open. So I have a gate and a door. So I saw the gate was open, and then the door was open, and then she saw me walking, and then she closed it. This just happened like an hour ago. And I wish I had stayed on live when it happened. So it was crazy. So I was just like, is she really in my house? So she saw me and then like closed the door immediately. And I was just thinking like, oh my God, if I wasn't home, or how many times have they done this? Or they just like come into my house. Like, yes, they left letters and they emailed us that they were going to be coming. So it's not like they didn't give us a heads up, but the heads up was like 24 hours in advance. So imagine if I'm like out of town, or maybe I was out of I went to just go get lunch or something and I wasn't home. And yeah, it was super weird, like hella weird. Because I can tell it's like where people are standing, like the echo of their voice, like if they're standing more to the right or the left. And I was just like, it really sounds like she's in my house. What the, So when I saw her closing the door, and I keep a bat. I have 3 bats at the end of my stairs because I think like a couple lives ago, I was talking about how there was like the cops were here last time. It's a trip. I should just come on here and tell stories about living on my block. But today was weird. So I was like, God, I am not letting anything stop me from going live today. I made a promise. I want to go talk to the people. I want to go interact and engage. But what the hell? Why was she in my house like that? And she was like a new manager person or employee of the management company. So I'd never met her. So the fact that like she just has our keys, I was just like, I made eye contact and I was like, what's your name? Nice to meet you, blah, blah, blah. And I remembered the face because God forbid they just decide to be willy-nilly with these keys and just enter my house at any given moment like today. That's not good. Because imagine like if I didn't know, because they had just put like a piece of paper on my gate. Imagine if the wind blew it away, or I never received, or if the email went to spam and I had no idea that someone was coming to my house today, let alone someone with keys. Like you guys hear my doorbell ringing, like there was just a delivery. So you hear my annoying doorbell. So the fact that like she rang it twice, and then like the third time she's kind of holding it, and then all of a sudden like they're in my house. Yeah. I have to get that figured out. Because even when she got here, I was just like, who are you? Because the other part of it is she also said the name of the management company. Well, yeah. Hi, Vanessa. Oh my God, thank you for the chili peppers. I just saw that. Oh, it's getting spicy, just like this story. So they gave me notice. They did. But I did not know that they were just going to use the key and enter my house, because I didn't respond the first time. I was on live the first time they rang the bell. So I just was like, I knew they were coming between 2 p.m. and 5 p.m. And I think it was almost 2:30. It was between 2 and 2:30 when they arrived. But I was on live the second attempt. And I ended the live stream because I was like, I can't just be walking back and forth during this live. And I'm still live here on YouTube. You guys are getting this exclusive story time. And basically, I was like, well, maybe it's not them. So I stayed on live, and I was like, let me just end it and see what's happening, because they keep ringing the doorbell. But I heard the voice, and I was like, that voice sounds like it's in my house. What if I wasn't home? So that part, to me, I got to go find the letter that they wrote, because I don't remember it saying like, we will enter your home if you're not there or not. It's smoke detectors, guys. Like, they work. I know they work. So it was just weird, like seeing my door open and close and it be a stranger doing it. That was all. It was just really jarring. And I wasn't scared because, again, I have plenty of bats in my house. But had I not known that they were coming, and I just see my door, and I know where my family's at the moment, they're not here. Like, so it's just me. I live with my brother, and then my parents, they live in a whole different city, but they'll commute back and forth. But we like share locations. So I was like, well, I know that they're coming in today for the smoke detectors, but I did not know that they had keys and we're just going to do it regardless if I was home or not. And to see, oh, you already know, Uncle Barry stays locked and loaded. And it's funny you say that. I have a poster of Barry Bonds outside of my office. It's a wall I use to measure my niece and nephew. And I've just always had this like mini Barry Bonds poster. He was always my favorite player. One of the reasons number 25 is also my favorite number. The first reason being today. Oh my God, today is my grandma's birthday, the one I quit my job for to take care of in her last year of her life. Today's her birthday. And June 25th. So her birthday being 25, and Barry Bonds, I call him Uncle Barry because I'm from San Francisco. So he was always like, he was at his peak when I was a kid. And even though I was right-handed, I always tried to mimic like how he would bat when I would play sports, or when me and my cousins would be out in the street playing baseball. It'd be like, "Who are you? Who are you going to be?" And I'm Barry. I'm Barry, or him, or Ken Griffey Jr. Those two were always my favorite hitters. But yeah, I had my Barry Bonds bat ready because thank God I knew that they were coming, but I just wasn't expecting them to have a key and just come inside like that. Like that was new. And I've lived here a long time. And some days my brother's home and I'm not, and my brother's I'm Mexican and Samoan. So when they see him there, they always turn around and like they leave. It's funny. But they're lucky it was me today. So I was like, oh, okay, you can come in. Now you can come in. I'll let you in. Actually, let me go unlock the door. And I was like, do you guys want some water? And then my tone changed. And I was like, would you guys like some water? Are you okay? Like, do you need more lighting? Like, oh, but best believe I followed them around the whole house. Like everywhere, every room that they were in, I was in there with them inspecting, like, yep, smoke detector here. We took this one out because of this. And I was like, you guys owe me some back pay now, because I work for this company now. Because then there was a second person, the person that actually installed the smoke detectors, who I did recognize. I've seen him before. And oh snap! Thank you for the Rosa. Oh, that's so cool. Oh my God, another heart puff. I love it. I told you guys I'm just being NPC. Oh, look at that. So when I finally, lightning dinosaur, well, like a teeny dino, tiny diny. I knew it was one of those. So once I let them in my house, first it was the lady, and I made sure I introduced myself, made eye contact, remembered the face, because if I just see her wandering around here randomly without notice, again, I'm gonna have to get Uncle Barry. Um, and then I didn't know that they were gonna, because we had to get one installed, a smoke detector installed. And I didn't know that there was going to be a second person. So I'm sitting here with my door open and she leaves. And then he comes up, installs the smoke detector, but then she comes back up for what? I don't know. Then I start to see her wandering into my kitchen, into the other room. And I'm like, we were already in those rooms. You don't have to go back. You don't have to go. And I'm in the middle of like purging and cleaning. Not just today, but just like in the last week, which I talked about in the other live. So I have like containers like in the middle of my kitchen right now, just kind of stacked like with a bunch of my stuff. So I get up and like I go back into inspector mode, and I was like, no, like why is she just walking around my house now? I mean, she wasn't touching anything, which is good because I could see her from here. And then once I got up, she like turned around and then like came back to where the dude was installing the smoke detector. But I was like, lady, what are you doing? You're getting a little too cozy. If you want to have a seat, have a seat. But there's no need for you to walk around the house if your job is just to do smoke detectors. And my guy over here is, the drill is drilling. Like, go stand next to him. There's no reason you need to be walking around my house. And I don't have like my house is not the house that you want to like invade. Like, you're not going to find anything. Like, I have like $8 of quarters on my dresser right now because from laundry day. Like, what are they going to take that and my Barry Bonds poster? All my shoes are raggedy and torn up because I wear them and I work out in them. I walk in them. I don't have any fancy purses or none of that stuff. I'm very just like hoodies and shorts. So if anything, if anyone ever were to come in here and take something, they would just leave very warm. It'd be very, very warm. and hydrated because there's a lot of water in my house. Oh my gosh. But yeah, that all happened an hour and a half ago. And I wasn't gonna let anything stop me from going live today, and I'm so glad I did. And again, I'm once they left, I came on here and we're back on YouTube, guys. Let's see. Would you ever consider overpaying? Is that didn't make sense? Would you name your child Ken? Huh? Okay. Someone said, would you ever consider overpaint? If that didn't make sense, would you name your child Ken? What are we talking about? I'm live on YouTube and TikTok, but would I ever name my child Ken? I would not. I mean, full disclosure, I have so many nieces and nephews. I actually don't want kids. But if I were to have a kid, I would not name them Ken unless it was like some meaning behind it, like a person named Ken was like influencing my life or had influence in my life or inspired me or motivated me, like Kendrick Lamar, if that was the situation. Like maybe I'd name them after Kendrick Lamar, but then I think about the Kendrick I actually knew in kindergarten, and then I'm like, oh, I don't want to think about that person, and then I think about my neighbor Ken from when I was a kid. I think about him and he was so cool, and then I think about Ken and Barbie. So I don't know. This is a comment someone left on my YouTube right now. We're live on both. But I'm going to say, please explain. Please elaborate on your question if you're still in here. If that didn't, would you ever consider overpaint? Oh God, am I aging myself right now? Is this like code for something else? Would you ever consider overpaint? I'm so confused right now. Strigs, tell me more. Elaborate, please. But apparently they want to know if I would ever name my child Ken. If I wanted kids and if there was some significance behind the name Ken, then yes. Otherwise, no. Um, okay. What? Shrek sounds like he is saying paint when he's drinking pint, and Ken is a skeptical name. What do you guys think? What do you guys think? So, okay, wait. Pint, pint. Well, yeah, because he has an accent. And shout out to Shrek. Shout out to Shrek. Hey, let's go. Thank you, Junior. Oh, that's a new one. What is that? Like a heart? What is that? Community Fest. Oh, maybe that's what I'll call the Patreon. TC Community Fest. And yeah, for anyone in here just joining, we're kind of just chit chatting, catching up. I soft launched via my podcast / email newsletter. And to anyone here on live, you guys will get the exclusives because it's just us. Ain't no switching up at this point. But I decided, I was like, you know what? I think a Patreon would be fun. And but now we are live also on YouTube. So sorry to put you on blast, Strix, but it's live. People can see your name. And they're saying Shrek sounds like he is saying paint when he is drinking a pint. And Ken is a skeptical name. Do we agree with that? Do we think Ken is a skeptical name? I never really gave that name much thought. I mean, we've been hearing the name Ken a lot lately because of Kendrick Lamar. They're not going to do anything. The community is safe. The community, we're a safe space, right, guys? It's all good. I love these type of random questions. Also, we don't always have to talk about work. Um, I know, Strix. um, but yeah, no. Ken is a skeptical name. That's funny. That is funny. But shout out to everyone joining. I see you guys, and shout out to Striggs. What other questions do you have, Striggs, that are like along these lines? Or do you still want me to elaborate on my thoughts about Shrek and paints? Paints, pints. Um, because I can still go. I can dish it. I can dish it. I'm not afraid. um, but yeah, I hope you guys are having an amazing week so far. Check in. Let me know how you guys are doing. Do you guys need help with anything, or are there some things you want to like kind of go over, or get some clarity on, or maybe celebrate? Like what are some wins you guys have experienced this weekend, or this week, or this month, or this whole half of the year? One of my smaller wins this week was finally donating the bag of clothes that was sitting in my hallway for weeks. I finally walked over to the place I donate clothes. That's how close it is, and it's just been sitting in my hallway that long. But in my defense, well, there's no excuses. There's no defense. Guilty. Would you consider singing him "Mary Had a Little Lamb"? And if you move down south, would you change your name to Shen? Wait, change his name to Shen? I don't know what is going on here, Striggs. This is like a. This is. What are these? What are these riddles you're hitting me with? Would you consider singing him "Mary Had a Little Lamb"? Who, Ken or Shrek? Who am I singing to, Ken or Shrek? And how is Shrek catching strays right now? Shrek is richer than all of us, guys. Why is he catching a stray? Oh, Ken. Got it. Skeptical Ken. Yeah, we can't trust skeptical Ken. If I'm singing, that means I'm distracted. And you gotta stay ready. So you gotta get ready. If I'm singing "Mary Had a Little Lamb," Ken could be in the background robbing me blind because he's skeptical. He has a skeptical name. And no offense to anyone that may be in here named Ken, or if you know someone named Ken, it's just jokes, sarcasm, as Striggs says. Shen. If I moved down south, would I change his name to Shen? Sure, why not? What else? What else, Striggs? What other questions do you have? One time when you were 2 years old, a piece of cheese fell off of the ceiling and into your mouth. Is that weird? Um, I have some follow-up questions. Why was there cheese on your ceiling? If you're, are you a mouth breather? Which means, at 2 years old, why was your mouth perfectly placed in order to catch said ceiling cheese? And then question number 3 is, is that weird? It's different. It's different. We all got to eat somehow. Right? Personally, I'm not eating ceiling cheese. I'm not. I mean, I'm 40, so I have to be very cautious of my dairy intake. Sorry, guys. TMI. And for those watching the replay of this live on later in the future, I don't know what's happening, but it's happening. We're rolling with it. So bear with me. Oh, TikTok is like, are you still here? Yes. And it's making me do this like puzzle. I'm back. I hope it didn't pause. But I'm getting like Riddler is in my comments right now on YouTube because I'm live on both platforms to anyone new that's been joining. And I was like, you know what? Keep them coming. Let's see how I react. It's like a little bit of improv as well, a little break in our day. You know what I mean? To where it's not just all work. We play too. We play hard, right? We play hard. So the next riddle or question we have here is, let me read it first before I say it out loud. The king was higher than the princess with the pea, so the cheese may have. Is this Mario Brothers or something? The bunk was higher than the prince. The bunk was higher than the princess with the pea, so the cheese may have been a string cheese that accidentally went into the upward direction. No, it's ceiling cheese. It's no longer string cheese. The cheese is for the ceiling. He no longer belongs to the streets. The cheese belongs to the ceiling. And you know what? I don't know how old you are today, Striggs, but you are a survivor. If you ate that ceiling cheese, you are a survivor. Striggs, you have one more riddle left with me. So go ahead and drop whatever you have to drop in the comments, and I will gladly entertain it. Keep it appropriate, because I do know how to use the block button. That's all I'm saying. But shout out to everyone here on TikTok. I see you guys. I appreciate the love, the support. I have so much fun coming in here and talking to you guys and just checking in, seeing how things are going for you all, answering any questions you may have, whether it's about transaction coordination or ceiling cheese. Okay, so we have, shout out to Kurt Cobain, and I'm glad you're appropriate and educated, Striggs. I appreciate that. 27 was one of my favorite ages, so have fun at 27. Enjoy life, make good friends, let go of bad friends. This is a pivotal age for you, so take advantage of it, have fun, travel, and get ready for your 30s. So, all right, Junior, let's see. What's the most common objection that realtors have when working with a new TC? Some of the objections, obviously, one of them would be lack of experience, lack of communication. Because I think when you're first starting out, you don't really know where you fit in the equation, meaning like, is now an appropriate time to follow up? Oh, I'm too scared. I'm too nervous. I don't want to overstep anyone's boundaries. But when you're just starting out, I think it's important to get on the same page as the realtor that you work with and find out from them, like, how, do you want me talking to your buyers, your clients, like whoever you represent, the buyers or the sellers? Do you want me, following up? How often do you want me following up? And then the other objections would probably be like being slower, just like the pace that you're working at, because you're new to it. So it's like managing new disclosures and documents. It's going to take longer because it's not familiar yet. You haven't built up your reps, or your stamina, or your efficiency. You know what I mean? Which is why it's so important to be organized as a TC, or just being organized, period, when you're self-employed. because that was something that I was not prepared for after quitting my job. Was like I still had that 9 to 5 mindset in a self-employed, self-managed world. So I lacked a lot of discipline. I was very disorganized, and everything was just everywhere all at once. Um, um, but those are just a few objections I think that they have, is like um, just like timing of it all, lack of communication. Um, what else? Um, yeah, just those few things, because and lack of experience, obviously. But if you're in constant communication with the people that you work with, and they're willing to give you that extra grace in terms of like um, in terms of where you're at, you know what I mean, and in the beginning, when you're just starting out, um, I don't think it's necessarily the best idea to have a full roster. I think if you can just kind of master working with one or two people at most at first, to get comfortable, to get familiar, because there's so many different nuances that occur that I couldn't even tell you to look out for, because it's just a part of like the process. It's like we're all experiencing new things together sometimes. And some stuff just doesn't involve you, it just includes you. Meaning like you'll be in an email that has nothing to do with you, but it's important that like the buyers are having difficulties getting insured. So it may delay the closing. Nothing you can do other than just make sure that those notes are getting put into the file. And then your job is to follow up and make sure we're still on timeline. What do we need to send out an extension in writing? Do we need to do I need to pause? Hey, yippee look at that. Do I need to pause and slow down my process of following up and reaching out to people until we get a solution or an answer? So communication on the back end between you and your realtor, as well as communication with those other parties involved, like escrow, title, um, inspectors, things like that. So adjusting your timeline to fit whatever's occurring within the transaction, because no two transactions will ever be the same, ever. And I can definitely say that from experience. um, even if they're even if they're homes that are side by side, no two transactions will ever be the same. Let me check YouTube. How's YouTube doing? Striggs has left, guys. Striggs is not in the chat anymore. But I'm glad we were entertained. Do you guys have any chair recommendations? I need a new office chair. I'm just one with like better back support. But I also have a really bad habit of sitting forward. So, and I still haven't like figured out like a proper live setup to where I am comfortable. Because I want to, always be working on my laptop as well. But let me make sure we're okay with emails. Nothing serious right now. Okay. But yeah, those are a few objections. Is obviously it's like the lack of experience. So you kind of have to fight through those like doubts that they may have, and speak in a way that is confident, even if somewhere on the inside you're kind of like shaking in your boots. Oh, shaking in my boots. You know what I mean? So it's like, in the meantime, as you're building, as you're learning a new industry, or learning how to become a transaction coordinator, um, it's kind of like practicing like your pitch, or just like the way you want to present yourself in this field, and not really like speak in a way that that it's like showcasing how scared and nervous you are. I mean, yeah, be honest, like be honest for sure. Like, this is my first transaction. Um, if you don't mind, I may need some extra hand holding, but I will do my best to give you my best versus like trying to do everything without seeking help, because that was a mistake I made in the beginning. I was like, I knew what I was doing, but I would get so overwhelmed and lost and forget deadlines, and I'd had too much on my plate to the point where it was like too much for one person. And then I was so disorganized that we're trying to bring someone else on my team as even as an assistant wasn't even a thought, because I didn't even have my stuff together. So as you're building any real estate business, whether you're the realtor or the TC or an assistant, it's always important to like have your systems be in place and as efficient as and organized as possible, and how are you managing timelines and uh, important dates? What systems are you using to keep track of all of that? Because one thing I do not recommend is anyone committing everything to memory. It's impossible. It's impossible. Maybe if you have one or two transactions, maybe. But even then, it's like life happens and you forget. You know what I mean? So, um, yeah. But I definitely would say working through like the lack of experience and getting through that will definitely like um, help you work through some of those like doubts or fears, insecurities. Because let me end the YouTube live, because it's there's no one in here. But shout out to everyone here on YouTube oh my God, I can't believe I was on live for an hour and 36 plus minutes. But um, hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, share this live, drop any comments, any feedback that you guys have or want me to talk about in future lives. Go to transactioncare.com so you can learn more about my services as well as join my community. And just know when I'm going to go live again. If you want to schedule a one-on-one session with me, visit transactioncare.com, or you can email me tc@transactioncare.com. So until the next live, I'm out. Oh, and go stream the podcast, Transaction Care.